More hot takes from the American right wing and the ruble in freefall. This is week 144 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Anna Belokur, reporting to you from Kyiv, and I'll be taking you through the top stories of the week. Last week's biggest story was Russia's new, or not-so-new missile, the Oreshnik, whose launch was feared by many to signal a significant escalation. Although we haven't yet seen any further strikes with this missile, Putin has been waving it around as a threat, saying that its next targets may include decision-making centers in Kyiv, industrial sites, and military facilities. Experts still say that Putin's nuclear saber rattling is extremely unlikely to indicate an impending nuclear attack. At this point in the war, ATACMS, the US-provided long-range missiles that Ukraine now uses against Russian territory, aren't enough of a game-changer to put Russia on the absolute defensive. On Thursday, President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed that Putin is escalating the war in an attempt to thwart any peace negotiations in the foreseeable future, as aerial strikes against the entire country reach new frequencies, and the Eastern Front Line is being pushed westward at the fastest rate since early 2022. In the last week of November, Russia took control of more than 230 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory, or over 90 square miles, the most in a single week this year. This year's record for Ukrainian territory lost in a single month was broken within the first 3 weeks of November, with the south of Donetsk Oblast seeing the greatest Russian advances. Ukraine is bracing up and down the front as worries grow that Russia will stage new pushes in Zaporizhia Oblast to the south and Kharkiv Oblast to the north, while also attempting to push Ukraine out of Russia's Kursk Oblast. There's a deadline at play here. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th, exactly 50 days from now. If Zelensky is correct, Putin will spend those 50 days doing everything he can to weaken Ukraine. Russia's increased bid for bargaining power is not without sacrifice. Thursday was the first instance in the entire war that Russia suffered more than 2,000 casualties in one day. Just 2 weeks ago, I reported that Russia had broken its former record with 1,770 casualties in one day, which they surpassed by nearly 300 on Thursday, with a total of 2,030 killed and injured. Also this week, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Biden administration is unlikely to deliver the full contents of its promised aid to Ukraine before Trump's inauguration, with $6.5 billion in Ukraine-designated aid dollars sitting on the line as the Pentagon hesitates. To be clear, this is aid that was already promised to Ukraine, that has simply never been delivered, which will fall to Trump's discretion to follow through on after his inauguration. If you're wondering where I got this cool sweatshirt, the Kyiv Independent's winter collection is now live in our merch store. It features work from local Ukrainian artists and has designs representing Ukrainian holiday traditions. We also have our core collection of Kyiv Independent clothes and accessories to choose from, so if you're looking for gift ideas and want to support independent journalism this Christmas, consider checking out our e-shop. It'll be linked in the description below. In the wake of the Biden administration lifting restrictions on long-range strikes on Russian territory, some Americans have come out with criticism for the move, including podcaster and Trump endorser Joe Rogan. In a rant on his podcast, Rogan claimed that President Zelensky is trying to start World War III by shooting rockets into Russia, going so far as to say that Zelensky is exhibiting cocaine behavior. As former Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko pointed out in his video response, Rogan's talking points bear a striking similarity to those of Vladimir Putin. It's also notable that for being a podcaster who claims to be having the real, tough conversations that mainstream media avoids, Rogan has gotten all of his information about Ukraine from right-wing commentators. There's no indication that he's ever talked to a Ukrainian, educated himself on European history, or experienced the reality of having his country attacked. He's not trying to understand the war, and yet he has a host of opinions to offer about it. So, arguing back against his claims feels pointless. If a media personality believes that he has the moral high ground over people in a literal war zone and is unashamed of parroting a satirically evil dictator, I think that speaks for itself. As an American who has lived in Ukraine for a long time, it's been odd to get messages over the past couple of weeks from people at home who are suddenly worried about what Rogan refers to as World War III. I understand that recent events have made it feel like things are changing fast or could escalate significantly at any moment. But the reality is that Ukraine isn't afraid of kicking off World War III. Russia has already started it, and Ukraine has been dealing with it for years. Russia has repeatedly proven that they won't stop, but they also don't have the resources to escalate significantly on a dime. The answer is not to hobble Ukraine out of fear of provoking Russia. It's to do exactly what Rogan is preaching against, to hit Russia where it hurts. It's interesting that so many people close to Trump are echoing Putin's fears, word for word. The Kyiv Independent just turned 3 years old, and in honor of our birthday month, we're aiming to recruit 1,000 new people into our community. For as little as $5 a month, you can support independent journalism on the ground in Ukraine while receiving some cool perks, exclusive content, and access to Kyiv Independent community activities. At the time of filming this video, we only need a couple dozen more people to meet our goal of 1,000, so if you'd like to be one of them, please visit the link in the description below. It's not all bad news. This week, the Russian ruble reached its lowest value since March 2022. Russian currency went into what one expert called a free fall after the latest round of US sanctions, which targeted Russia's Gazprom bank, which has been its main channel for receiving payments from Europe for natural resource exports. With the country facing a third year of a war-focused domestic economy and oil prices at an extended low, Russia's central bank made the decision to suspend all further currency purchases until the end of 2024. This move was made in an attempt to curb the booming inflation that has significantly raised the cost of living for the Russian public. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, there's been an often repeated sentiment when it comes to everything from mobilization to drone strikes to economic sanctions. An angry public will only get Putin's attention when it's the privileged residents of Moscow and St. Petersburg that are complaining. The current levels of inflation are definitely hitting everyone. According to the state statistics agency Rosstat, even basic food items like potatoes have seen up to a 78% increase in price this year. Still, experts are split on the degree to which Russia's current economic distress is a long-time tide-turner. Putin can theoretically fund this war as long as he wants, if he continually diverts money from the civilian sector. This will mean more price hikes for the average Russian, lower growth, and a lot of failed businesses. But Russia has been bolstering its domestic economy in the face of Western sanctions for years now, and its military production industry is still thriving, meaning that the negative effects of the current situation won't be unilaterally felt across all sectors. Most experts agree that Russia is in a bad situation economically, one that could tarnish Putin's reputation if the coming winter proves particularly hard, but not one that automatically sets Russia on the brink of collapse. For that result, we need to keep working. That's all for this week. We'll be back next Sunday with more news from Ukraine. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. Your support is what allows us to bring you independent, unbiased news about Russia's brutal invasion, which we are committed to doing no matter how much uncertainty the world faces. If you'd like to become a member of the Kyiv Independent community, please visit the link in the description below. I'll see you next week.